Gentlelady is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank my colleague for yielding me the time on this critical issue. And I would say to the gentleman from Massachusetts that I'm also giving him the opportunity to urge all of our colleagues to defeat the previous question so we can take up the bill H.R. 1897, the REACT Act. My common sense legislation would require the Department of Homeland Security to test all migrants illegally crossing our border who they plan to release into our communities, and they should be tested for COVID-19. I have traveled to the U.S.-Mexico border twice this year. On both trips, I have spoken with the brave men and women serving in Customs and Border Protection and also the physicians who are stationed there. I saw the crisis they are facing firsthand. I believe that it is our congressional responsibility to address this crisis and support our officers. Earlier this month, the DHS, Office of Inspector General, called for the department to improve COVID-19 detection and prevention measures at the U.S.-Mexico border amid record-setting migrant arrivals. I even inquired of Secretary Mayorkas in a hearing whether or not testing was being done, and he alluded and gave the illusion that there was testing. However, to quote directly from the report, CBP does not conduct COVID-19 testing for migrants who enter CBP custody and is not required to do so. The report further stated that we recommend DHS reassess its COVID-19 response framework to identify areas for improvement to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 while balancing its primary mission of securing the border. Currently, everyone legally entering the United States by plane is required to display a negative test for COVID-19. Why aren't we requiring this of those who come here illegally? Numerous public health officials, and I am one, have stated that the failure of the U.S. authorities to test adult migrants for the coronavirus in jam-packed border processing centers is creating a potential for new transmissions, including among migrants who may have arrived healthy at America's door. The administration has correctly recognized the need to test individuals arriving from Afghanistan, and not only are they tested, they are vaccinated for COVID-19 and other childhood illnesses. But it does not seem to understand the importance of doing the same to those crossing our border illegally. In August, more than 208,000 migrants were encountered along the southwest border. This means each day, approximately 6,700 individuals were encountered. To put this in perspective, President Obama's Secretary of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson, stated in his tenure that 1,000 apprehensions a day was considered a bad day. We are at more than 6 times that now, and on top of that, we continue to face a global pandemic. I applaud the work being done by the CBP agents and officers, working around the clock to keep this country safe and healthy. I will also do whatever I can to support their work. We recently watched a debacle unfold in Del Rio, Texas, where we have learned that DHS did not test any of approximately 15,000 migrants who camped out under the Del Rio Bridge, many of whom came from South America, where they're experiencing the Lambda variant. We now know that around 12,000 of these individuals were released into the United States. Right now, the majority is preparing a reckless, multi-trillion-dollar tax and spend package. None of the money in that legislation would go to CBP, despite the DHS Inspector General clearly stating that CBP officials do not have the necessary resources to conduct testing. If the majority already wants to spend trillions upon trillions, why not include money to support CBP and testing for COVID-19? The current lack of testing at our border is completely unacceptable and irresponsible. It puts the health and safety of CBP, border communities, migrants, and all Americans at risk. The current lack of testing is unacceptable, and for this reason, I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support my legislation, the REACT Act, by voting no on the previous question. Thank you. I yield back.